Okay, I am live on YouTube now. Hello. Today I'm going to be practicing stenography again. I'm going to be doing the 100 and 120 words per minute classes from Platinum Steno. Last time I did pretty good on the 100, so I'm hoping there'll be more of that today. Okay. Without further ado, this is dates.
Welcome to our drill practice today. Let's start out with some dates. Get our fingers warmed up. Here we go.
Okay, I hope it's not just March 28th.
January 15.
Okay, I'm gonna skip this. Phrases. Now this is good practice.
Some phrases. This is from our list of 100 most used phrases. And just as a reminder, these aren't necessarily phrases that you learned specifically, as briefs. These are just literally phrases that people use in speaking. Okay, so just those kind of phrases. You may have briefs for them, and that's excellent. And if you don't, then you just write these phrases out. All right, here we go. There were, he had, in your, she was, when he, when the, you said, are you, on the sidewalk, saw it, I can, with you, I would, have been, for the, not tell, what happened, $1,000, before you, not know, with your.
Hello, TikTok Patrick.
Do you remember?
Hello, Cobra Hercules.
Look at. Not say. To a. I couldn't. Where the. To your.
Thanks, my friend made it for me.
With him. About it. All right. So that. To do. To him. I should. To the left. Was that. You could. You know. And you were. When you first. Ask you.
Is that it? Okay, that's it for the phrases drill. I did notice that there was briefs for sidewalk, what happened, $1,000.
All right, let's practice some letters and numbers.
Letters and numbers.
Letters and numbers.
What is this gonna go for?
Here we go.
Hopefully not the rest of the
8 H J 7 4 5 5 G 6 7 7 5 DC 34GH 564
Yeah, yay stenography.
T99FGT 3 J3H 6JX2 4HJ9CG4 9J93KC7 45H23T8 BB3RT98.
Is that it? Sounds like that's it.
Alrighty. Moving on to some drill practice, some items from the 14,000 Things to Be Happy About book.
Butter on the peanut.
Alright, let's see what new things we can find to be happy about. Here we go. Breaking for rainbows. Gramophones. Rubies.
Rubies.
Packing cookies in popped corn.
Cookies and popped corn.
Picking out a card and sending it to someone who would never expect it. Decorating magazines. Encouraging your children to be creative. Modern art.
I don't write encourage. Let me look it up. Sometimes I write it correctly, sometimes I don't. Okay. It's TPH instead. Not EN. N. Okay.
Old-fashioned cake tester.
Cake tester.
A bundle of straws with shiny metal bands around them. Red velvet. Jeep trips. Pie wedges. The National Register of Historic Places. The cool underside of a pillow. Lake Michigan's shoreline. Cherry vanilla fudge. Highly polished parquet floors.
Hello, so Trey.
Swing
what's
sets.
wrong? Butter of the peanut will never get
And on
old.
that note,
Okay, I think that's it for the drill.
I have to say I love swing sets. When I was growing up, we always had a swing set. Almost always. In every house we lived in, we had a swing set in the backyard.
They jury charge and literary now.
Welcome to our literary and jury charge practice. Let's start out with this jury charge.
Oh, you were cyberbullied? I'm so sorry. That really sucks.
Here we go.
I would be really upset too.
He did not think that he used a valid excuse for his lack of preparation. The credibility of the testimony of that witness was brought into question because his testimony in court and his testimony in the prior testimony did not match. The judge did not think there was enough evidence based upon the seriousness of the case.
I'm really sorry.
To grant a directed verdict. A directed verdict is granted when one side has all the evidence on its side. The court reporter had prepared a verbatim transcript of the proceedings. A verbatim transcript is a record that is taken down by the court reporter after the testimony of a witness is taken down, either in court or outside of court. The court reporter then prepares it in transcript form. The testimony that is given in court must match the testimony that is found in the record. The transcript is delivered to the witness. The witness has an opportunity to read the transcript and make any changes that the witness wishes to make. The witness is always cautioned that any changes that are made to the transcript could result in the credibility of the witness being questioned. In this case, the credibility of the witness was questioned because he made conflicting statements in his testimony. He had not changed the testimony upon reading it, and he changed his testimony in court from what it had been and what appeared in the verbatim transcript.
It's okay, so Trey. You don't have to apologize for anything.
Let's see, what did we have? We had directed verdict.
Not sure if directed verdict is a brief.
Verbatim transcript.
Nope. There is directed, though. You can write it in one stroke.
Just some words to practice.
Verdict. I need to remember that it's
in addition
V-E-R-D.
to the jury charge itself.
Not V-U-R-D.
All right. So now let's try some literary material.
We're doing literary material now. I wonder what it's going to be about. I hope things get better for you.
Okay, some literary practice. Here we go. Forgiving and forgetting are often paired together, but the one certainly doesn't necessarily follow the other. Some injuries, real or imagined, we may never be able to forget, even though we say we've forgiven them. Other injuries we may never even be able to say that we forgive. Those are the ones, it seems to me, most likely to involve people we've loved, and so I'm inclined to look at what our experiences of forgiveness may have been like from the first people who loved us. The first time we required forgiveness, we probably did something we shouldn't have. When our closest grown-ups thought we should have known better, we made someone angry. We were to blame. What did the first brush with blame begin to teach us? If we were fortunate, we began to learn that to err is human. Even good people sometimes do bad things. Errors might mean corrections, apologies, repairs, but they didn't mean that we, as a person, were a bad person in the sight of those we loved. The second thing we learned, if we were fortunate, was that having someone we loved get mad at us did not mean that person had stopped loving us. We had their unconditional love, and that meant we would have their forgiveness too.
Okay, I missed some words. Grown up? Not anything? Grown up is one word. Why did I not know that? It's one word, grown up. Fortunate. I messed up fortunate.
Back to a little bit of jury charge practice. We have a different jury charge. We'll get started here. Here we go.
Okay, jury charge.
Ladies and gentlemen, whether the defendant is to be found guilty or not guilty depends upon both the facts and the law.
What is not guilty again? I would like to memorize this brief. Okay.
On both the facts, or the defendant is to be found guilty or not guilty depends upon both the facts and the law. As jurors, you have two duties to perform. One duty is to determine the facts of the case from the evidence received.
Okay, hold up. Perform. I always forget perform. It comes up so often, weirdly enough. Form. I was missing an R.
Both the facts and the law. As jurors, you have two duties to perform. One duty is to determine the facts of the case from the evidence received in this trial and not from any other source. Your other duty is to apply the rules of law that I state to you to the facts as you determine them, and in this way to arrive at your verdict. It is the judge's duty to explain to you the rules of law that apply to this case. You must accept and follow the rules of law as I state them to you. As jurors, you must not be influenced by pity for a defendant or by prejudice against him or her. You must not be biased against the defendant because he or she has been arrested for this offense, or because he or she has been charged with a crime, or because he or she
Cool. Hope you're having fun.
or she has been charged with a crime, or because he or she has been brought to trial. None of these circumstances is evidence of guilt, and you must not infer or assume from any or all of them that the defendant is more likely to be guilty than not guilty. You must not be swayed by mere sentiment, conjecture, sympathy, passion, prejudice, public opinion, or public feeling. Both the state and the defendant have a right to expect that you will conscientiously consider and weigh the evidence and apply the law of the case, and that you will reach a just verdict regardless of what the consequences of such verdict may be. A defendant in a criminal case is presumed to be innocent until the contrary is proved, and in case of a reasonable doubt whether his or her guilt is satisfactorily shown, he or she is entitled to a verdict of not guilty. This presumption places upon the state the burden of proving him or her guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant has no burden of proof.
Okay, so I got something's wrong here. Conscientiously. How do I write that? How do I write that? Google it. I know how to sound it out, obviously, but conscientious. Okay, I did know how to write it. Conscientious. What? Conscientious. like that. Conscientious. That's marginally better. I'm trying to practice it. KAUPBGS. The problem with that one is that it comes up as a mistranslate. An untranslate. I use it. Okay, well, hopefully this doesn't come up again. What a troubling word. Presumption. Okay, there is a read for it. Okay. Should probably get a band-aid for that. Conjecture. I see conjecture. I don't know how to write conjecture. Oh, I do know how to write it, actually. I did it. Conjecture. Okay. Then there was also burden of proving. It was burping? Yes. Burping. And burp is burden of proof. Sentiment.
Just a few words in here to practice. We have satisfactorily.
Okay, that one too.
Satisfactorily.
Joyfully.
Presumption. Sentiment. Conjecture. Prejudice. Consequences.
Consequence has a...
Yes, we had some challenging words. Lots of challenging words in that one, right? Yes. So definitely maybe some words to put on your list of words that you have difficulty with or not. and make sure that you do practice those when you practice. All right. So let's move along. Have an article in the Journal of Court Reporting. That I wanted to get started with you, and it's called Gadgets, Tips, and News for the Techie in Everyone. So just some, I guess, technical tips. So let's give it a try.
Tech tips, evidently.
NCRA's Technology Committee regularly compiles technology news to share with the membership. Here is a list of some of the committee's finds so far. Keep up to date on the Tech Committee news through the JCR Weekly e-newsletter. Nancy Bistani, RPR, NCRA Technology Committee co-chair recommended a few handy gadgets. Zolt is the world's smallest, lightest, smartest laptop charger. It can power up a laptop as soon as 2 additional devices simultaneously. Zolt is 93 milligrams long and is compatible with more than a dozen laptop brands, including PCs and Apple. It includes a 6-foot cord that wraps around the charger for storage. Learn more at gozolt.com. The iRing attaches to the back of a mobile device, such as a smartphone, and acts as a grip, kickstand, and mount. The iRing can be removed and reapplied using a pressure-sensitive adhesive, and it holds up to 15 pounds. It rotates 360 degrees and swivels 180 degrees. Learn more at iringusa.com.
I wouldn't say those were tech tips as much as just
we'll carry on with
things that you can buy.
That article another time. Get more tech tips.
I wouldn't qualify that as a tech tip.
All right, back to some jury charge practice.
Sorry, I'm drinking a Frosty.
We'll finish up the one we started earlier. Ready? For this reason, the judge decided to rule in favor of the defendant. During his instructions to the jury, the judge made it clear to the jury that they were to look at the credibility of the witnesses when returning a verdict. The witness who raised doubt in the minds of several jurors was the police officer who testified on behalf of the state. The jurors discussed the fact that there were several different times when the police officer's testimony did not match the testimony that he had previously given. The fact that the testimony did not match raised some serious doubt in the minds of the jurors. Several of the jurors did not believe his testimony at all. Several of them believed his story that he did not have enough time and just read quickly through the transcript. At one point, the defendant's attorney requested a directed verdict because he felt that there was not enough evidence presented by the state to convict the defendant. The judge did not grant a directed verdict. concludes our literary and jury charge practice. Thank you.
Okay, and moving on to Q&A.
Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's start out with this Q&A, just two voice, defense attorney and the witness.
Defense attorney and the witness. Well,
here we go, starting with the defense. Your son was attending Fairgrove Junior High School? That's right. The first time that he ever had a class with Mr. Vandermint was in the fall? I believe so. What grade was he in at the time? He was in 8th grade. Had you known Mr. Vandermint prior to the time your son was taking his class? No. Had you heard anything about him at all? Not until after my boy was struck. Up until that time, you had never heard anything good or bad about Mr. Vandermint? No. When did you first learn about your son being struck by Mr. Vandermint? It was around the middle of February, more or less. The middle of February, you say? Yes. Was that at your home? Yes, sir, it was. Just how did you learn about it? He told me. Your son told you? Yes, sir. What was the nature of the conversation with your boy when you first learned of the incident? Well, he would come home complaining every day about his legs and about his dizzy spells and about the cramping of his legs and not able to sit down. It was the same thing every day. How long had this been going on? Since September? This was in February when he told me this. About how long had he been complaining of it before you asked him about it? About a week. Prior to that, he had never complained about it. He would complain, but he wouldn't tell me what was the matter with him.
okay. Butter of the peanut. He also said popped corn during the drill.
All right, so now let's do some practice with some Q&A practice with our transcript, and we will have both attorneys questioning
No.
the defense attorney and the plaintiff attorney. Okay?
That's so difficult. Okay.
And we will start with the plaintiff. Okay, here we go. Why did he tell you he was taken to jail? I don't know why he told me. I'll object. It calls for speculation. I kind of understood it the same way she did. Okay, that was very sharp. Did Mr. Majors tell you for what purpose the police took him to jail? Yes. And what did he say? He just said that they thought he was under the influence of something, but they released him that night at the hospital. It wasn't like he was taken to jail. I don't know what kind of an arrest it was. Did he tell you whether or not they drew any kind of blood sample from him when he was taken in? No, he didn't. He didn't mention that one way or the other? No. Did he ever later tell you if they did or not? No. Had you ever driven in the car with Mr. Marsden? Not while he was driving, no. Did you know that Mr. Majors, strike that, did you have reason to believe before the accident occurred, did you have reason to believe that Mr. Majors was not a good driver? Not that he was a good driver, no. Let me ask you this. I can understand why you would not want somebody to drive a car that was in your name, but it seems to me that there was probably some reason that you didn't want Majors driving this car. Can you tell me what that was, if there was a reason? He's asking if there was a reason. If there is, yeah, I do have a reason why. What was the reason? Because I figured he was into drugs and things like that. You've answered. Okay. So you were, strike that. Is it fair to say that you were primarily concerned that perhaps some criminal activity could take place when Mr. Majors was using the vehicle, that maybe somehow you were afraid could be led back to you? Yes, but it had nothing to do with Mr. Majors' ability, as far as you knew at the time, to be a good driver. Can you say that again? Yes, I think we've established that you didn't want Majors using the car that was in your name because you were afraid he might be involved in some sort of criminal activity, right? Right. What I'm also trying to figure out is whether or not you said you didn't know him one way or the other. I think what kind of driver Mr. Majors was. No. Is that correct, isn't it? That's correct. So your reasoning for not wanting Majors to use the vehicle had nothing to do with his ability as a driver. Isn't that true? That's true. Okay. Did Majors say anything to you about some cocaine which the police have indicated in their report was found in the vehicle? No. He never mentioned that to you one way or the other? No. Did you ever talk with Mr. Smithton about this accident? That's my client, the plaintiff in this case. No. Did you ever talk to the police about this accident? No. Had you ever known Mr. Majors to have a job? No. Approximately how much in terms of money damages was done to your car, if you know? Objection as to the term your car. I think we've used it pretty consistently as being in her name. Let me ask you this. How much damage in terms of cost of repair or whatnot has been done to that 2006 Toyota? It was totaled. Did Mr. Majors ever tell you where he was going at the time that the accident occurred? No. Is Mr. Bradford still your boyfriend? No. Have you seen Mr. Bradford lately? No. Do you know if Mr. Roberts was injured in this accident? Yes. Was he? From what I could see. Oh, you saw him as well on the day of the accident? Not the day, no. You saw him sometime after the accident? Yeah. And, okay. And he looked to you to be injured from this accident? Uh-huh. Yes. From what reason was Mr. Bradford's license suspended? If you know. I don't know. If you know. I don't know. How did strike that? Did Mr. Majors offer some explanation to you as to how the accident occurred? No. You didn't ask him? Well, yes. I could back that up. I'm sorry. Did he answer you and give you some explanation as to what happened? Yes, he did. Okay. What did he say happened? He said that Mr. Smithton pulled in front of him while he was going down the street. Have you ever gone by any other names other than the last name of Lee? My maiden name. What is your maiden name, or was it? Susan Ann Remton. Could you spell Remton? Rempton. That's all the questions I have. I think the record's pretty clear. I just want to ask one question.
Okay, that was, I think, yeah, that was the whole exercise. Okay. I had a hard time with switching between defense and plaintiff attorney. Let's see if I do any good on the test. Okay, this is
Welcome.
loud.
This will be a 100 Q&A practice test. 100 Q&A practice test. Our plaintiff attorney, Mr. Schaefer, capital SCHAEFFER. Defense attorney, Mr. Rea, capital RIELA. And we'll start with the plaintiff.
Plaintiff is first.
If he's asking you that question, he has something over there that's giving him reason to ask. What city? Maybe it will jog her memory. I don't have the city in front of me. Were you ever in a vehicle 4 years ago that was involved in an accident, or did you own a vehicle 4 years ago that may have been involved in an accident where you lent a car to somebody? My truck was. Yes. You own a truck? I do. And what kind of truck is that? It's a Tahoe. Did you own it in 2010? Yes. Okay, did you lend it to anybody? Anybody drove your truck that had an accident? Yes. Can you tell me who was in an accident with your truck? Jason Wilson. And who is Jason Wilson? My ex-boyfriend. And did he borrow your truck in 2010 and have an accident? I don't remember. And if your truck was in an accident in 2010 and you were not driving it, would you have known if somebody had an accident? Was there damage to your truck? License plate was knocked off. I remember that. Did anyone sue you for? No. Okay, well, thank you. Yes. Who is your vehicle insurer? AAA. Currently or back then? Currently. Yes. And for how long have you had AAA? I don't remember. I've had them for a while. I just got asked that question by somebody else. I don't remember. Was your truck insured with AAA? Yeah, my truck has always been insured with AAA. That's what he wants to know. Okay. Did you have any other vehicle insurer? I've had Allstate, I've had Geico, but not at the same time you had AAA? No. Okay. Okay. All right. Have you ever been in an accident on any other means of transportation, such as a bus, a bike, a motorbike, a boat, an all-terrain vehicle, any other kind of accident? No. How are you currently supporting yourself? My work comp. Have you ever applied for disability of any kind? Just through my work comp. Any social security or unemployment disability? No. Have you ever applied for any kind of disability in the past? No. Okay, and have you applied for state disability at all? I have. Work comp, right? No. Stay cool here. He's work comp. He's state fund, workers' comp insurance. They only pay for a limited amount of time. As a state employee, she would not have been qualified for SDI, would she? No. Then she didn't have it. Okay, I just answered my own question. There you go. I just wondered if at any other point in your history have you had any application for other kinds of disability? No. Okay. Have you ever had any hospital stays other than for this injury? Other than for this injury. Mole removal. That's it.
Wow. I didn't do very good on that one because it had 3 people talking. I can mostly handle 2 people, but when it comes to 3 to 4 people, it's like I don't understand how I'm supposed to do it. I'll get that fast enough. Ad break should be starting in like several minutes. Let me move this to class 30. And move on to 120.
Welcome to drill practice. Let's start with this number drill. It's actually dates. All right, here we go. 2015, 80, 85. All right, let's stop there. Now let's try these words. Just for it's for vocabulary development, but it's also to get your fingers kind of moving. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Significant tumor development. Film production headquarters. An authorized transaction. National defense. Fiscal integrity. Greater opportunity. Defense budget. Military measures. Primary cause. Fundamental things. Structural changes. Photo processing laboratory. Behind police barricades. Emotional fires. Storm flags. Money bill. Every instance. Nation's resources. Manpower costs. 2x4. Unnecessary drain. Goal students. Vehicle identification. Trade barrier. Complete reference. Funeral services pending. Political advertisements. Resolve economic issues. Northwest corner. World peace. National security. Uniformed personnel. Personal conflict. Very possibly. Personal observation. International inflation.
Okay, possibly. Identification. I always forget this one too.
Now let's try some medical.
A little action.
Some short medical words. Okay, here we go. Bloodshot eyes. Life-saving treatments. Blood splatter.
Thank you.
Fainting spell. Bullet wound. Bone protruding. liver damage, institutional care, medical treatment, watery eyes, cancer in remission, severe headache, neurologist, dental plates, gaping wound, shoulder girdle, relieve symptoms, drug manufacturer, high blood pressure, obviously broken, human anatomy, cushioning shocks, sliding movement, thickened edge.
Okay, neurologist. I don't know how to write. Neurol. Okay.
All right, just a few things to be happy about. The welcome light over the porch, brick cheese, bringing chores and a fiddle into the kitchen, chicken cooked in ginger and garlic powder, Chinese barbecued ribs, going to a football game with a warm blanket and thermos of hot chocolate to share, tree sitting, Lake Ontario, making a balloon dog, taking back road tours, baking powder biscuits, milking cows, selecting a wood stove, wallpapering, Valentine candy hearts. Thank you. That will conclude.
Okay, moving on to the jury charge in literary.
Welcome to literary and jury charge practice. This jury charge is one we've been working on. Actually, it's regarding insanity, mental disorder, mental institution.
Ad break starts in 1 minute.
All right, so this is just a small section of it to get warmed up. Here we go. The law defines insanity in many ways. In some states, the law is that anyone who is suffering from a mental disorder is deemed to be insane. In other states, the rule prevails in which the defendant is said to be insane if he is not able to tell the difference between right and wrong. Various ways of defining insanity are used because there has been no standard way of defining it. The most commonly used law is defined as the law is referred to as the right or wrong rule. It defines insanity of the inability to tell right from wrong. There are many other tests for insanity. One common test is to determine if a person knew an act to be wrong, but because of his mental condition could not control his actions. That is one way of describing it. Another common test. Defendants found not guilty by reason of insanity are not set free. They are usually confined to a mental institution until they are determined to be sane.
Okay, be right back. Outbreak has started on Twitch. I'm just gonna be like looking up words and stuff. Okay, there is no brief for insanity. There is one for institution though. Institution. I always forget that. There's so many words that I just forget. I learned how to write them, and then in a snap they're just gone from my brain. Yeah, yay for learning. Stream ends in about 21 33 35 minutes. In about 35 minutes. Okay. Back.
Then they are usually confined to a mental institution until they are determined to be sane. They may be confined for a longer period than if punished in another way. An insanity defense normally rests on the testimony of someone who testifies for the defendant.
About 35 minutes. Only got this video and 2 more to go.
All right, that's it for that jury charge. Let's get back to our article in the NCRA magazine about posting on social media. All right, let's see, this section of the article is called Probe into the Past. Probe into the past. Oh, and then we'll probably do the final section as well. It's called Personality. So we have Probe into the Past and Personality. Here we go. It's a good idea for students to audit their online presence a couple of times a year by conducting a Google search of themselves, especially when done from a computer they don't use. This allows students to know what's out there with their names on it and take steps to remove or hide unwanted content when possible. This semester, I started to fill my YouTube channel with video tutorials on Eclipse features for students, Schilling said. I'd forgotten about a video I'd made years ago that was unrelated and didn't show me in the best light. Schilling has since been more conscious of her online content. You can't take yourself too flippantly online, even if you create something intended for one audience. You can't always control who will see it, said Schilling. However, despite the fact that it might seem like there are a lot of rules to follow, remember to have fun and show a little personality behind that professional demeanor. There's a fine line between being professional and a corporate shell, Knight said. You're not going to build lasting relationships if you're only thinking about driving business. So that concludes that article. And again, that's from the NCRA magazine in February of 2016 if you're interested in actually viewing it. So one of the words in that last section, flippantly, and we had YouTube,
flippantly,
Google, all right, I think that's very, very helpful. Let's get back to some jury charge practice.
Jury charge practice.
This is a new jury charge that we'll start working on, and looks like this is an accident case, and we have, let's see, oh, it's an accident, but it says this case involves a company automobile and a corporation. Okay, so it's about a business entities, but it's an accident case regarding a company car, company vehicle. So let's get started on this one. Okay, ready? Your duty is to determine whether the defendant could have avoided the accident. You must not base your decision on speculation. You must base your decision on the facts alone. In doing so, you must keep in mind that there has been testimony stricken from the record. That testimony is not to be considered in your decision. You must not include this testimony when you are making your decision as to the facts in this case. You may not consider evidence that was stricken from the record. That must be treated as though you had never known it. You must also keep in mind that standing alone, a question is not evidence. You may not consider it as evidence. If you have a question with regard to the law, as I indicated, you are to get the bailiff to take the question or questions to me. I will answer your questions as best I can. I will be in my chambers, so I will be here to answer any questions that you may have. You may look at the diagrams or any other evidence that you need to review in order to make your decision. This case involves a company automobile and a corporation. With regard to business entities, you must know the law. The fact that this case involves a business entity should not prejudice you in your deliberations or in your verdict. You must treat the business entity as a person. In the eyes of the law, a business entity is a person. That entity is entitled to the same fair and impartial considerations and to justice by the same legal standards. With regard to the business entity, you must keep in mind that it is being charged with the responsibility for the accident. You must keep in mind that the suit involves both individuals and the corporation. The law that applies in this case determines how the responsibility will fall. You must not be prejudiced in any way because the accident involves a company vehicle. You must not believe a company to be above the law. On the other hand, you must not punish a company because you think it has power above an individual. The company and an individual have been accused of causing the accident. It is now the duty of the plaintiff's attorney to have convinced you that they do not do their duty or act properly, resulting in the accident. Your concern is not to speculate with regard to the facts in this case. Your concern is to determine whether the individual driving the car acted properly while driving.
I saw that I went up to 170 during that. I also saw that I forgot how to spell, how to write responsibility.
So we had deliberations, entity. Business entity, diagrams,
responsibility, Bob,
prejudiced,
Speculate. I had the right idea.
Excuse me. Speculate. All right. Finish that one up later. I have some new literary material, and it's actually kind of for fun. It's a Dr. Seuss book, and it's called "Oh, the Places You'll Go."
Dr. Seuss.
So some of the words are fairly simple because it is a Dr. Seuss book, but then there are some words that are maybe made up words as well, so can be a little bit of a challenge as well.
I'd like to see a court reporter do a Dr. Seuss book.
Let's give it a try. Ready? Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the guy who'll decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets. Look 'em over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Out there things can happen, and frequently do, to people as brainy and footsy as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on. You'll be left in a lurch. You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then that you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're darked. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right and 3/4, or maybe not quite, or go around back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. You can get so confused that you'll start in to race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, toward a most useless place, the waiting place.
Oh, and that was the Dr. Seuss book. Was that the whole book?
Well, we'll stop there. The adventure continues.
Okay, so it wasn't the whole book.
We'll read on. And it's kind of funny. I've read this before in my classes, and it applies a little bit to being a student. Let's see. So again, I know there's some crazy words that are just made up. Let's see. Let me see here. Right, you'll probably, since they're made up, unless somebody reads this book again, you may not hear again. Oh my gosh, and now I can't find any of them. Well, we had prickly perch. Although prickly, I've heard that word before. Prickly, perch, hang ups, bang ups, lurch, a mind maker upper. Mind maker upper. And this isn't made up, but wiggled. That's a good word, wiggled. Okay, that's all for now of Oh the Places You'll Go. Let's, actually, I think that will do it for.
Oh, okay. That's it for the Very Charged and Literary. How about the Q&A?
Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's get started with our transcript. It's about, looks like starting a business. Okay, and we will start out with the defense attorney.
Defense.
Here we go. Your Honor, let me just, these numbers are important numbers now. Somewhere along the line there might be some records. I don't know, but if you don't know the answer, don't guess. I don't know. If you think it is a educated guess and you feel secure enough about it, say it is an educated number, or the guess is. What basis are we talking about? Are we talking about a cost basis on that, to you, or retail value, or what? I always deal in cost, so it would be cost. So you were open for about a little over 3 years. Did you maintain any sales records during that period? Sure. Do you have any idea what your sales were for the, let's just say, period you were open for, the approximately 3 years? Do you have any idea what your sales were? Maybe $400,000. Do you have any idea what the breakdown would have been between drug sales and other sales? No. Never kept records of that. Never had any rule of thumb or any percentage you worked on or anything like that as far as having any knowledge of what the drug countered or the rest of the store? The answer is, I don't remember. Is there a general range that the percentage tends to run in drugstores that you are aware of? Objection, irrelevant and immaterial. With regard to him, he said he doesn't remember. What it may run in other drugstores, it is not relevant here. What was the margin, your gross margin on merchandise? It should run. What was it at Seacliff, or what should it have run? What was it at Seacliff? I never really knew. You don't have any idea what your gross margin was? I think you discussed this with me last time when I said it should be about 30%, but what it was at Seacliff, I don't really know. So you know, it is strictly a... Would it be your opinion that the margin at Seacliff was more or less, or the 30% that it should be? Less, more in the range of 20 to 25. If we are talking about a 20 to 25% gross margin, if an item is marked $1 in the store, then the cost price would be 75 to 80% of that. Correct. Seacliff's doors stayed open until the end of August of 1999? Yes. What happened to the inventory when the doors were closed? And when specifically, if you remember, did they close? They closed on or about the last day of August. What was left was thrown in boxes. Most of it was taken to the garage, and some of it was brought to the pharmacy. What garage? There were 2 garages in Huntington Beach where I kept mostly fixtures.
That was tough.
Good number practice there. All right, let's get to our firefighter transcript.
I'm trying my best. It's really tough. 120 feels impossible to me. But I am getting better each time I practice.
Okay, start with the plaintiff. Do you remember in what way she was being combative, if you recall? No, I don't know specifically, other than some of these indications that we've just discussed, including her behavior and the fact that she couldn't answer questions. Was there anything else that you observed, or any I'm not sure if I'm going to word this right. Tests that you conducted that would have led you to believe she was under the influence of alcohol. For example, the Pearl tests. No, we don't perform tests to find out if they are under the influence of alcohol. Okay, the Pearl test down here, which is noted about halfway down the page on the left-hand side, pupils, and then beside it the PERL. Did you conduct that part of the examination? Yes. And what would the purpose of doing that be? To check for some type of brain injury. And based on the results that are noted here, it looks like sluggish left and right was checked off and were at 6 millimeters, her pupils. What would that suggest, if anything, to you as a paramedic? It doesn't suggest anything to me. It's nothing conclusive, just a secondary finding that I found. Okay, and is this something that you do and then it's not normal? No. It is not a normal finding? No. In your experience, could that be attached to the use of alcohol? Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for the witness to speculate, lacks foundation, potentially calls for an expert opinion. If you know, based on your training and experience as a paramedic, calls for an improper lay opinion. Alcohol has, in the past, caused pupils to be sluggish. And the same question with respect to drugs, street drugs, as opposed to any medications. Could they cause the same, or in your experience as a paramedic, have you noticed the same type of response? Same objection as previously noted. Yes, drugs can also cause pupils to be sluggish. Is there anything else that kind of stands out in your mind about this incident that you remember? Objection to the extent it calls for a narrative response as phrased. Nothing that stands out in my mind about the call specifically. Then I just want to go over your PCR report in a little bit more detail. Under the chief complaint, is that a triangle? Yes. And then LOC? Yes. And that stands for altered level of consciousness. And that finding was based upon some of the examinations that you performed on her? Yes. Okay. And I guess we've already covered a little bit of it. Part of that would be that she was only oriented times 1, meaning that what did she know? Who she was? Who she was, yes. Okay, and as to the rest of the questions you asked her in that regard, the time of day, the place, the situation, she wasn't able to respond. Correct? Okay. I'm sorry. No, you're actually doing really well. Just under that, it says history of illness, injury, patient hit by vehicle going approximately 40 miles per hour. Do you know where you got that information particularly with respect to how fast the vehicle was traveling? My partner got that information. I did not. Do you know where he got that information from? Typically either a bystander, the person that was in the vehicle told the story, or from the patient is where we find that information. Is it safe to say, in this situation, it wouldn't have come from the patient given her altered level of consciousness? Yes. Do you know whether there were any bystanders or witnesses around at the time that you were rendering your aid to the patient? I don't know. This question probably won't make sense since you don't know, but did you talk to anyone else at the scene other than the other people from the Orange County Fire Authority and possibly the Sheriff's Department and the ambulance? All right, that will conclude our Q&A practice.
Wow, that was it? I want to retry that just because it was so difficult. Maybe I'll be able to do it again better. Maybe I'll try it again. Okay.
Start with the plaintiff.
Okay, I'm trying it again.
Do you remember in what way she was being combative, if you recall? No, I don't know specifically, other than some of these indications that we've just discussed, including her behavior and the fact that she couldn't answer questions. Was there anything else that you observed or any... I'm not sure if I'm going to word this right, tests that you conducted that would have led you to believe she was under the influence of alcohol. For example, the Pearl tests. No, we don't perform tests to find out if they are under the influence of alcohol. Okay, the Pearl test down here, which is noted about halfway down the page on the left-hand side, pupils, and then beside it the PERL. Did you conduct that part of the examination? Yes. And what would the purpose of doing that be? To check for some type of brain injury. And based on the results that are noted here, it looks like sluggish left and right was checked off and were at 6 millimeters, her pupils. What would that suggest, if anything, to you as a paramedic? It doesn't suggest anything to me. It's nothing conclusive, just a secondary finding that I found. Okay, and is this something that you do and then it's not normal? No. It is not a normal finding? No. In your experience, could that be attached to the use of alcohol? Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for the witness to speculate, lacks foundation, potentially calls for an expert opinion. If you know, based on your training and experience as a paramedic, calls for an improper lay opinion. Alcohol has, in the past, caused pupils to be sluggish. And the same question with respect to drugs, street drugs, as opposed to any medications. Could they cause the same, or in your experience as a paramedic, have you noticed the same type of response? Same objection as previously noted. Yes, drugs can also cause pupils to be sluggish. Is there anything else that kind of stands out in your mind about this incident that you remember? Objection to the extent it calls for a narrative response as phrased. Nothing that stands out in my mind about the call specifically. Then I just want to go over your PCR report in a little bit more detail. Under the chief complaint, is that a triangle? Yes. And then LOC? Yes. And that stands for altered level of consciousness. And that finding was based upon some of the examinations that you performed on her? Yes. Okay, and I guess we've already covered a little bit of it. Part of that would be that she was only oriented times 1, meaning that what did she know? Who she was? Who she was, yes. Okay, and as to the rest of the questions you asked her in that regard, the time of day, the place, the situation, she wasn't able to respond. Correct? Okay, I'm sorry. No, you're actually doing really well. Just under that, it says history of illness, injury, patient hit by vehicle going approximately 40 miles per hour. Do you know where you got that information particularly with respect to how fast the vehicle was traveling? My partner got that information. I did not. Do you know where he got that information from? Typically either a bystander, the person that was in the vehicle told the story, or from the patient is where we find that information. Is it safe to say, in this situation, it wouldn't have come from the patient given her altered level of consciousness? Yes. Do you know whether there were any bystanders or witnesses around at the time that you were rendering your aid to the patient? I don't know. This question probably won't make sense since you don't know, but did you talk to anyone else at the scene other than the other people from the Orange County Fire Authority and possibly the Sheriff's Department and the ambulance? All right, that will conclude our Q&A practice. Thank you.
I tried my best again that second time. Okay, I'm gonna try the test. Let's hope it's not as difficult.
This will be a 120 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff attorney, Mr. Nelson, capital N-E-L-S-O-N. Defense attorney, Mr. Shad, capital S-H-A-D. Ready? We'll start with the plaintiff.
Plaintiff.
Mr. Ryan, you just turned 20, right? Yes. And your place of birth? Long Beach. Where do you presently reside? Lakewood. How long have you lived there? I'd say about 18 years. And Mr. Ryan, do you live there with anybody? Yes, my mom and dad. Do you have any present intention of moving from there? Not at this time, no. Are you in school right now? Yes. Where do you go to school? Long Beach City. That's Long Beach City College, correct? Yes. Did you go to high school? Yes, I did. Where did you go to high school? Lakewood High School. Did you graduate? Yes, I did. After you graduated from high school, did you go right to Long Beach City College? Yes, I did. So when did you begin? Actually, a week after I graduated. You went to summer school? That is correct. All right. And you are still there? Yes. And how many semesters have you taken then? 3. Have you taken some time off? Yes, I have. So you probably would have finished 4 semesters by now. I had a knee injury my first semester there, so I took that semester off. I went back for the second semester. And what are you studying? Do you have a major yet? Not yet. Is this your final semester? No, I have one more semester. I'm only taking one class this semester. Why is that? Because I work now. So you'll finish your AA soon? That is correct. Will you be applying to college to go on? No. Why is that? Because I'm getting into my father's trade. What is that? Heating and air conditioning. Is that what you are doing now? No, I am a cabinet maker. All right, so what are you doing now in the way of employment? I'm making cabinets. Who do you work for at the present time? Visual Enterprise. Could you spell that? Visual, V-I-S-U-A-L. Where are they located? In Paramount. Do you know the address? No, I don't. Do you know the name of the street? Yes, it's Jackson. How long have you been working there? Oh, 2 months. How many hours a week do you work? Oh, I'd say about 30. Do you know their phone number? No, it's in my wallet and I left my wallet at home. All right, who's your supervisor there? Robert. Do you know his last name? Garcia, I believe. How did you get hooked up with them? Well, my sister got me the job there. Did she know someone? Her boyfriend did. Okay, and what is your sister's boyfriend's name? You need his name too? Objection, that's irrelevant. You may answer the question, however. Well, he is now her husband. Okay, you can go ahead and tell him the name of the person who got you the job. His name is Paul Warren. All right, now your father's trade is heating and air conditioning. Heating and air conditioning, correct. What's his business name? Carrier. What does he do for them? Because Carrier is a big company, isn't it? I've even heard of them. I guess he's a supervisor. I guess you could say he's a supervisor. So when you finish Long Beach City College, then you're going to work for your father? Yes, when I finish there, I plan to go to work for my father at Carrier. Okay, so you will quit your job at Visual Enterprise. Yes, I plan to quit as soon as I graduate. Will you still be involved in making cabinets? Objection, I believe that's irrelevant.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe I'm gonna try that again.
Mr. Ryan, you just turned 20, right? Yes. Mr. Ryan, you just turned 20, right? Yes. And your place of birth? Long Beach. Where do you presently reside? Lakewood. How long have you lived there? I'd say about 18 years. And Mr. Ryan, do you live there with anybody? Yes, my mom and dad. Do you have any present intention of moving from there? Not at this time, no. Are you in school right now? Yes. Where do you go to school? Long Beach City. That's Long Beach City College, correct? Yes. Did you go to high school? Yes, I did. Where did you go to high school? Lakewood High School. Did you graduate? Yes, I did. After you graduated from high school, did you go right to Long Beach City College? Yes, I did. So when did you begin? Actually, a week after I graduated. You went to summer school? That is correct. All right. And you are still there? Yes. And how many semesters have you taken then? 3. Have you taken some time off? Yes, I have. So you probably would have finished 4 semesters by now. I had a knee injury my first semester there, so I took that semester off. I went back for the second semester. And what are you studying? Do you have a major yet? Not yet. Is this your final semester? No. I have one more semester. I'm only taking 1 class this semester. Why is that? Because I work now. So you'll finish your AA soon? That is correct. Will you be applying to college to go on? No. Why is that? Because I'm getting into my father's trade. What is that? Heating and air conditioning. Is that what you are doing now? No, I am a cabinet maker. All right, so what are you doing now in the way of employment? I'm making cabinets. Who do you work for at the present time? Visual Enterprise. Could you spell that? Visual, V-I-S-U-A-L. Where are they located? In Paramount. Do you know the address? No, I don't. Do you know the name of the street? Yes, it's Jackson. How long have you been working there? Oh, 2 months. How many hours a week do you work? Oh, I'd say about 30. Do you know their phone number? No, it's in my wallet and I left my wallet at home. All right, who's your supervisor there? Robert. Do you know his last name? Garcia, I believe. How did you get hooked up with them? Well, my sister got me the job there. Did she know someone? Her boyfriend did. Okay, and what is your sister's boyfriend's name? You need his name too? Objection, that's irrelevant. You may answer the question, however. Well, he is now her husband. Okay, you can go ahead and tell him the name of the person who got you the job. His name is Paul Warren. All right, now your father's trade is heating and air conditioning. Heating and air conditioning, correct. What's his business name? Carrier. What does he do for them? Because Carrier is a big company, isn't it? I've even heard of them. I guess he's a supervisor. I guess you could say he's a supervisor. So when you finish Long Beach City College, then you're going to work for your father? Yes. When I finish there, I plan to go to work for my father at Carrier. Okay, so you will quit your job at Visual Enterprise. Yes, I plan to quit as soon as I graduate. Will you still be involved in making cabinets? Objection, I believe that's irrelevant.
Okay. Hello, Noah. I am ending the stream now because I just finished the test. Let me move this to class 12. Okay. I'll be back tomorrow with the 100 line. Hope to see y'all then. Goodbye.